Friday. It's a good week. The market isn't dumping as usual, which is a good sign. Nobody's losing crazy amounts of money, which is a very good sign. We're approaching the end of the bear market, which is a very good sign. It's Friday, which is a very good sign. For those of you playing FIFA, it's weekend league, which is a very good sign. For those of you who work 9 to 5, it's not 5 yet, but it's almost 5. So that's a good sign. Some of you might be on your lunch break, which might be a good sign. Overall, it's a very good and positive week. Now, to top all of that off, I've got even more positive news for you. You guys know, and girls, and everything in between, you guys know that I only like to bring on the best guests on this show. Guests that will help encourage you guys to understand more about crypto, understand more about Bitcoin, understand more about the market cycles of crypto and how it all operates. I don't want to just show you guys alts and make you guys buy stuff. I want you guys to help. I want you guys to really understand how Bitcoin works and how crypto works. When to be patient, when to accelerate, when to be aggressive. Now, today's guest is a bit different. We've had traders on the show, and we've had Trader XO come on the show and talk about macro. I wanted a different perspective on macro, and I wanted to bring you guys something a bit more refreshing, a bit of a new perspective, something that will teach you guys and at the same time get you guys engaging, at the same time, get you guys thinking a bit. Someone that's different to myself, someone that's different to Trader XO, different to Trader SC, different to Trader Deng, different to the other traders that I bring on, Crypto AM, Jim Talbot, Crypto ISO. You know all the prestigious names that we've had on the show. Today, I'm going to be introducing JJCycles. Now, JJ is somebody that I've known for a little while. Outstanding individual. Put that aside. We're going to keep it professional. Other than the hot and sexy personality, we're going to talk about just purely from the crypto side. All right. So get your comments in. All right. I'm going to do a shout out very quickly. Get your comments in. Show some love to JJ, more importantly, because I'm just about to bring him on the show. Let's see who we've got here. So we've got, I can see here, I can't click on it. We've got Nicholas, we've got Aya, we've got Lily in the chat. We've got Crypto Mac in the chat. We've got Hathawell in the chat. Don't forget to be respectful to the mods in the chat. All right. Show them some love. They do a lot of hard work for us. Okay. We have got Titan in the chat with some lovely Arabic right in here. We've got B2B South Africa saying, yo, good to see you. It wouldn't be a stream, of course, without Phil the Flying Frenchman. So good morning to you, mate. And of course, Gul, great to see you, Gul. It's always good to see you. It's good to see you back in the chat. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, but I'm glad that you're back and I'm glad that you're good. Richard, it's good to see you, Richard. Thanks for joining the show. Thank you very much. We got JMO in the chat as well saying, what's up? Good to see you, JMO. Thanks for joining the show. We got Simon here saying good morning. We've got Shane as well saying, yo, NJ, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too, mate. Thank you for joining the show. Lily once again throwing another comment saying happy Friday and giving us a potential free trade as well. Tezos looking good for a long. Well, I think a lot of altcoins are looking all right, but we'll see how we get along. All right. Giles, good to see you, my bro. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Good to see you. We've got NFP today, don't we, Giles? NFP today. We've got Unidiver as well. We've got Mattia saying, yo, hello, guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Who else have we got in the chat? Let's finish this up. We've got Tudor. Good to see you. Thank you very much. We've got B in the chat. And that's the shout out for today. All right. Now, without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on JJCycles. So if you don't mind, smash up the likes, share the stream, do whatever you need to do. Get the stream likes going up, get the views going up, get the comments coming in, more importantly, and show some love to JJCycles. All right. JJ, how's it going, my bro? Welcome to the NJ show.
Man, it's been so long. We've been talking about organizing this and setting this up for weeks, if not months.
Bro, I've been trying to get you on this show for a while now. Do you know what it is? I know that the community is going to benefit from it. So I've been hounding JJ like there's no tomorrow. For everybody here in the chat, there's not a million people in the chat, but for you, handful of people, I've been pressuring JJ. JJ, come on, man, we got to get you on the show. We've got to get you on the show, bro. What's going on, man? But finally, JJ's taken some time out for all of us, for you guys, for myself as well, to come and talk on the NJ show. So you know what, JJ? A quick one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background? I can go as far as telling people how we met in terms of I was a younger trader, NJ, a more ambitious, more curious trader NJ back in the day. That's how I met you. But tell us a bit about your Twitter story and how you grew on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, so I started in 2017. I think just like a lot of us started, I just bought a shitcoin, and I like 10x my account, made a lot of money, which was a lot of money for me at the time. Um, and then yeah, like also many of us did, we completely round tripped the entire portfolio back then, uh, and that's okay because it was the first time that I started investing. Like I'm not even sure if you can call uh, putting money into a shitcoin investing, but okay, that's another topic. Yeah, that's how I started in 2017, and then I really started digging into crypto and yeah, I recognized that there are cycles that this wasn't the first time that altcoins really took off like a crazy amount, like how it did in 2017. So yeah, something triggered me to dig into it and try to understand if it could happen again and how I could profit from it the next time that it would happen. So yeah, so that's how I started in crypto. And besides crypto, I'm currently busy finishing my master's. So I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I think that's also part of the reason why I like to dig into a subject, because it's just in me, right? To pick a problem and really dig into the problem and step by step try and get a better understanding of it. That's me.
All right. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. Now that gives me a question instantly. Instantly gives me a question.
Uh-huh.
So,
Is that
you know, what do you think then? Do you think that you need like a finance degree? Do you think that you need to be involved in the finance space or the traditional market space to become a crypto guy? I mean, part of your story that you spoke about, you didn't really mention anything about having any qualifications or degrees or knowing anybody in particular in order to get to where you are today. So, just for the people in the chat, obviously, do you need any of those things to become a crypto guy, or can you start from today and really just start picking up the pieces, start putting pieces of the puzzle together? What do you think about that?
Man, like I said, I started with what was it, $100 in 2017. I had never invested before. I literally started from zero, right? So yeah, what do you need to start? Nothing. A small piece of money and yeah, a sort of income to manage your daily living, and that's about it. Yeah.
100%, 100%. I love that. I love that. I'll keep going on. I'll keep going on because there's so much to dive into. Next thing I'm going to ask you then, look, since you've said all of that, I guess in that particular instance, your opinion will be worthy, considering that you've been in the space for a number of years now, and you've proven, alongside myself and a few others, that you don't actually need a ton of qualifications. You don't need a big amount of knowledge to really get involved in this space. This space is for everybody, and you can start with anything as long as you start today and put your foot down. Now, in 2021, we had so many reasons that Bitcoin would go up. In 2021, we had all sorts of price predictions like 100K, 150K, 200K. Some people were calling for 500K, and some other people were even saying that Bitcoin could potentially hit that $1 million valuation this cycle. Now, since 21 happened, obviously we've had 2022. And in 2022, we've had the complete opposite, where we've had so many reasons for Bitcoin to go lower. We've had bearish news, bearish upon bearish. We've had 3AC, we've had Luna, we've had Celsius, we've had FTX now. So many reasons. I'm sure I missed out a couple more.
Crazy. Yeah,
But
man.
what do you think? What do you think in terms of, are we going to have another bull market? I love asking guests that come on the show whether or not you think we're going to have another bull market, because I'm in the group that thinks that we are going to have another bull market, and I'm eager to hear what you have to say about that. And maybe after this question, maybe you could even share your screen and share some of your thoughts on Bitcoin if that's possible for you.
Yeah, sure, sure. I like to look at it from two different lenses, really. The one lens is within the crypto bubble, within the Bitcoin bubble, even. These are the halving cycles, right? So yeah, I don't think I even have to explain it too much. But yeah, the halvings are yeah, pretty important for every cycle, again and again. So that's one lens, and then the second lens is yeah, the macro cycle. So what's the Fed doing? What's the price of money? And where could it go in the future? These are the two lenses that I look at.
Okay. Do you think it would be okay if we could share your screen and maybe have a look at Bitcoin from a more macro view, and maybe give us a little story as to what you're seeing and what you think could happen in the future?
Yeah, can do.
Okay, it's interesting that you mentioned the halving as well. Just while you're sharing your screen there, you mentioned the halving and looking at it from that lens. Well, we've got a halving coming up in 2024, which is not really that far away, considering we're nearly in 2023 now. We're less than a month away from 2023. So, that halving that we've got coming up in 2024, does that affect your view on Bitcoin? Does that mean that you think Bitcoin could potentially be going higher in 2024? Do you think that we could maybe pass all-time high in 2024? I'm really eager to see what you think. I'm just waiting for your screen to come up so I can.
Let me just fix one small thing, and then I'll show you a chart and yeah, try to answer exactly the question that you just
Definitely.
phrased.
Definitely. In the meantime, everyone, keep your comments coming in, keep the like spikes coming up, and make sure if you're new to the channel that you're subscribing to the channel. JJ is one of many guests that we bring on the show. We always keep it prestigious here on the NJ show. We don't just bring on anybody. We bring on people that will really help the community. So big shout out to JJ for doing this for us. He's doing it for free. He's taken an hour out of his time to come and help school us. So make sure you're showing love for the stream and for JJ. Okay.
I think we should be live right now.
Yeah, go for it, JJ. Go for it. The mic is yours, my bro.
Right. So this is, yeah, the bigger picture of Bitcoin. Can you like phrase again your exact question once more for me?
Yeah, sure. So, when it comes to Bitcoin, you were talking about the halving and how that kind of makes you it affects how you look at Bitcoin, because when you've got the halving, it makes you look at Bitcoin from one lens, and obviously you've got other lenses that you look at Bitcoin from too. But, the reason that it stood out to me was because, we've got a halving coming up in 2024, and the previous halving that we had was in 2020. Now, the halving that we had in 2020, of course, we know that in 2021 we had a massive bull market where Bitcoin rallied, Ethereum rallied, but more importantly, the altcoin market really, really gave us an outstanding rally, one that made many, many millionaires. Of course, I don't know how many millionaires exist today, but at the time it did anyway. So we've got another one coming now in 2024, and I'm eager to see if you think maybe if we could have anything like we had in 2021 or 2017 in 2024 or 2025.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So to start off with, this is TradingView, and I'm using the pair that's called BLX. So the Brave New Liquid Index for Bitcoin. It's always the index that I use when I want to look at the bigger picture that contains the most information possible on the history of Bitcoin. Yeah, and I think we all know that there have been cycles, and if I just mark out like the literal bottoms of each individual cycles, let me just do that. I've done it already, so I only have to make them visible. Oh,
Oh, lovely, lovely. I see where you're going
uh,
with this. This is nice.
there's a lot of stuff that I don't even want to show, but that's okay. I can just delete it.
You guys are gonna love this. I can see where JJ is going with this one. This is getting me a little bit excited. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So these are the three on the left, I should say, because the one on the right is, yeah, it still has to be confirmed, right? I think we're close to the bottom. If not this year, then probably next year, somewhere early, in my honest opinion. But let's focus on the three on the left right now, for the previous cycles that have actually already confirmed. I just marked the bottoms of these cycles when I show the, yeah. And then when you start even including the halvings, you see that these halvings will be, yeah, sort of what aligned within these cycles. Let me just do that right now.
So just for the chat right now, what JJ's doing is on his chart, he's marking out the lows of each cycle. And at the same time, the orange line that he's added now is the halving. And I guess what we're looking at the moment is we're looking at price and we're trying to understand what happens at the low of the cycle towards the halving and then what happens after the halving. Now, pay attention to this, everyone, because you're really going to love this. This is golden information that JJ is giving us right now for free.
Yeah, so what you can see is the halving comes, what is it? November 11 up to November 12. So that's like roughly a year from the bottom. The halving, the first halving happens, and then the next cycle, it's also roughly a year, right? So you can see this is some sort of a trend, and then when we try to extrapolate this into the next cycle, because that's what we're looking at, right? We're trying to find where the next bottom is, and it should be somewhere around here, because this is the halving. That's it's an estimation. It should be around May 24th, but that's not. There's no facts of that. It can shift a little still, because it has to do with the blocks. It's a bit of a complicated story to get into,
No,
but the date is not fixed. That's the main thing.
yeah, 100%. But looking at the previous data that we're seeing here, I mean, I'm personally loving this chart. At the moment, we're looking at a chart, but one thing that people don't really realize is we're not just looking at a bunch of candles here. We're looking at 11 to 12 years of price data. This chart goes all the way back to, early to late 2010. Now, if we're going back to late 2010, this cycle has repeated itself 3 times. So the question here, this is the real question. The question now is, has the bubble popped for Bitcoin? Which means if the bubble has popped, this pattern won't repeat itself again. We're probably going to go to zero, and of course, cryptocurrency is dead. Or are we going to see the same thing? Now, if we're going to see the same thing based on this chart, where could the possible low for Bitcoin be? Because I imagine what people are going to be looking for is they're going to be looking for where the potential low is, where the white line falls and meets price. Now, how low do you think Bitcoin can go?
How low I think Bitcoin can go?
This is an interesting one.
Oh man, this is such a tricky question, right?
It is, and I get different answers from everyone. We had Charlie on the show, and Charlie said, "Well, look, I can make a case for 7K." We've had SC on the show who can make a case for 12K. Me personally, myself, I think it could be somewhere between 10 and 14. That's a 40% difference, but I don't know how low the market wants to go. It can go as low as it wants to go. I look at support and resistance. I look at macro cycles. For me, it's somewhere between 10, 11, and 14K. I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see what you think when it comes to the low on Bitcoin. Just out of interest, you don't have to be exactly right, but if you was to look and you was to gauge price and you was going to say, all right, look, this is the date zone that we're in. This is where Bitcoin currently is. This could be a potential buy. What would you think? Show me what you think on that chart.
I think the first thing that I want to look at is get a better understanding of where this white line should end up to be. What like time range makes sense for this line to be in, right? And I think that's it's basically it could be in today. The bottom could be in today. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. So that's one option. And then another option is that we go a little lower and that the white line shifts a bit more to the right. But you can already see that it comes closer to the halving date. So that would mean that the further the bottom goes lower, the date will shift more to the right from the bottom. And then we are slowly starting to diverge from the repeating pattern that we've seen in the past, because there's been a pretty big time range between the bottom and the halving in each cycle. So I think that's what we should expect from the coming bottom as well. So it should be like a little bit before the halving. So that is ultimately I think mid 23 the bottom should be in by then. Before then the bottom should be in. So that's
Very,
time
very,
wise.
very interesting. Very interesting. Now, I tell you what. I like that you said. I had a feeling you were going to say that, and I was talking to Big Bro XO the other day, right? And when
Hmm.
it comes to XO, like he's a man who's very, very busy. So when he's giving you time, you have to appreciate the time that he's giving you. And then when he says goodbye, salam, it's over. The conversation is finished. now he left me with a proper cliffhanger the other day because I spent all this time thinking that, well, hold on a second, everything makes sense. All right, you've got 2018, the bear market. All right, let's rewind a little bit, JJ. Rewind with me, okay?
For sure.
You've got
Yeah, for sure.
2017. That's the bull market. That's a huge bull market. 2017. So many gains were made. All right.
Let's hear. Yep.
2018 bear market. 2019 bear market rally. 2020 you've got the COVID spike, right, which is right before the halving,
Oh yeah, right here.
right? Okay, and then we have the move up. Now, if 2021 is the bull market,
Hmm.
2022 is the bear market, 2023 is potentially the bear market rally, and then 2024 is the bull market. That's the pattern that I've consistently seen. Now I'm starting to build a case now, and I've got people in my circle who I really respect, such as yourself, saying, "Well, look, um, there is a possibility that we could see the summer of 2023
Hmm.
become the exit of the bear market." Now, this is very controversial, and the conversation will start to get a little bit intricate from here, right? So I apologize if I start coming with too many bullets, but hear me out. Now, in terms of 2023, if the summer of 2023 could signal a potential bottom for Bitcoin, maybe not a bottom, but maybe we've already started to rally, then that could potentially coincide with an exit of a bear market. Now, if the exit of the bear market comes, I found that the most money that is made in cryptocurrency comes from the exit of the bear market. People who have patiently waited from the bull market, in the bear market, in the accumulation phase, when the exit of the bear market comes, that's where the most money is capitalized on. That's where altcoins, stupid altcoins that have no purpose and no real use case, they give us 100x, 200x. Now, do you think that something along those lines could happen mid 2023, or do you think it would be mid 2024 that happens? I can't seem to figure out the exact date. I can't seem to figure out the zone. I'm still leaning towards 2024 as the big party. But if the exit of the bear market was to come sort of mid 2023, then would it make sense to start looking at altcoins then?
Listen, it's all we've got is history, right? It's right here. This is all we got, and it doesn't mean it will repeat. So maybe recency bias is a bitch and will come for us. But if we expect it to repeat, and I'm fully expecting another cycle. Let that be clear. Then the bottom should be in somewhere early or mid 2023. And with that said, after every single bottom from all the cycles, we got a pretty decent sized rally leading up to the halving. So that's the main point here. You can see back in 2011, we saw the bottom, and then leading up to the halving, we got a pretty decent rally. Similarly, in 2015, leading up to the halving, after the bottom, we saw a pretty decent rally. And then yet again, in 2019, we got a decent rally again, leading up to the halving. So yeah, I think that's something that will repeat again. And where exactly the bottom will be, God knows, somewhere here. And then leading up to the halving, I'm expecting this rally that you're talking about. So yeah, I do think we'll get a rally in the second half of 2023 leading up to the halving.
Amazing. Now this is the thing, right? This is the thing. So we need to make sure that we're available and that we're here and that we're ready when this bear market rally comes, because I don't want anyone in the community to miss that. So JJ, give us a bit of maybe if we break Bitcoin down a little bit. I know at the moment we're looking at the weekly time frame, but maybe if we zoom in just a little bit, maybe you could mark out maybe some support and resistance for us to give us an idea of maybe, you know, how low Bitcoin could go, what the potential cases for each low could be. So I noticed that you pointed to the 10 to 12K region just a few
Yeah.
moments ago. Could you maybe show us why the possible low for Bitcoin could be that 10 to 12? Because I feel that as well. That's exactly my range too. But it would be nice for the audience to hear it from somebody else other than me being boring. By the way, just a quick one chat. Just a quick one chat, by the way, and JJ as well. We got some breaking news coming in from one of our mods here. I need to look into it, but Giles is usually very consistent with this, and that's why he's one of the respected mods on the show. FTX official has approved a plan by its Japanese unit, FTX Japanese, to restart withdrawals for local customers. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that is coming out for just FTX Japan or if that affects FTX International, but it is something that we'll be definitely looking into. And maybe towards the end of the episode, maybe we could push this over to JJ and we could see what he thinks about this whole FTF scandal. All right, back over to you, JJ, for some Bitcoin.
I'm so tired of FTX.
We'll talk about it. We'll bring it up because we've had a lot of bearish news coming out over the course of 2022, and you know, one thing that I want these people to understand here in this chat is that the bearish news, it's a magnet when we have the bear market. You know, when you've got the bear market, the bearish news, it stands out because, you know, it's the bear market. If this was if this was a bull market, the bearish news would still come out in the same fashion. It would just affect price a lot less, you know. And a lot of people,
Yep.
they fall into that trap where they don't seem to realize that, you know. And it's good having somebody else on the show so I can talk about it, you know, so I can talk about it and people can see. Anyway,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
off to you for the Bitcoin update. Let's have a look at what Bitcoin could potentially be doing. A little TA from JJ.
Let's just try to mark out some levels. Yeah, let's do it.
100%.
So let me
Guys, keep the
let
comments
me
coming in. Show some love to JJ. Show some love to JJ. All right. I want to see more love in the comments from JJ. We've got nearly 60 people here. Smash up the likes and get your comments in. What are you doing? Get your comments in.
So if this is the halving date, we're expecting the bottom to be in somewhere here. That's what we spoke about. So where could this bottom potentially be? Looking at this structure right here, I think there's a case could be made that this is a pretty important level. If this level breaks, and I'm not confident that it will in the short term, but if this level breaks, then we have to look at what's below. And one thing that stands out to me is this rally started right here. This was a massive rally, and it started from this small zone right here. So if we mark that out, this zone, that's how I look at it. That would be like an ultimate opportunity in the darkest periods of this bear market. So I'm not saying we will go there, but we could go there, and if we do go there, then that will be a golden opportunity, in my opinion. I'm struggling to see Bitcoin go much lower than this. So like even that is possible. Of course, with crypto, everything is possible. It's you can never predict another black swan. You know, maybe Binance blows up. Who knows? Some huge black swan that I cannot predict. It could happen, and we could dip below it. But ultimately, I think this is a decent, really amazing opportunity if you get into this zone. That's if you take it like this, you can see that it it coincides with a lot of other important levels as well. The halving rally in 2018 also ended in this level, and then got a massive rejection with COVID. So for several reasons, this seems to be a pretty important level.
Shall I tell you a secret? In 2020, I was shorting that.
Of
I
course
was
you are.
shorting that. Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought we were gonna go back lower. I thought it was in a
What
range.
you were shorting here, huh?
No. The next one. You know the down move that sent the market
Oh,
up,
right here.
just a bit higher. There, that's the area. I thought, yeah, we were going to break down, and there were a few people that were going all in, and I was like, yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
You're
I'm shorting this.
crazy.
This is going back to zero. I'm shorting this. The value for Bitcoin is 1K. I
You
was a
don't know
complete
COVID.
moron, complete idiot. But as soon as we flipped 10K, I got all in. I went all in on Bitcoin and altcoins as soon as we flipped 10K. But you're right. That area is
So
the
yeah,
area that,
this is the zone. Yeah, definitely.
you know, and
Honestly.
and it's funny as well because I'm when looking back at it now and looking at it from your chart, you know, it's one of those areas where it gets very, very iffy. So I'll give you an example, right? If we were to come back into this area now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would cause a rift in the community. And although I believe that the community has evolved, I think that people that we meet in crypto nowadays in this particular time are
In
focused on
this
learning.
stage of the cycle, yeah.
Yeah, they're focused on price action. They're very smart. Like I'll tell you now, and a big shout out to everybody in the chat right now. My community here on the NJ show are a really outstanding community. These guys and girls, they give me a voice because of how passionate they are about crypto, and they make this show possible. But even so, I'm telling you now, if price was to drop into that box there, I think it would cause a massive rift in the community because I think half of the people would be looking to short because they think Bitcoin is going to lower prices, the lower band of that range. And at the same time, half of the people would be saying, well, this is the generational bottom for Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin's going to go much, much higher from here. Now, if we was to deviate that range, I wonder what kind of panic there would be, and I wonder what kind of news that would come out based on that deviation, and I wonder how low that deviation could be, because the bottom end of that box falls in at pretty much 9.9k, doesn't it?
Yep. The low of this point was 10.2. Oh no, 9.9 actually. Yeah.
9.9k. Now I tell
I
you
can
what,
mark it up.
would
Yeah.
you be a potential buyer in this area?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I think I would be too, if I'm really honest with you. I think I would be too. I think everything is lining up perfectly. So you remember when I said the market cycles, I said 1 year of bull market, 1 year of bear market, 1 year of accumulation, 2021 bull market, 2022 bear market, 2023 accumulation. And then somewhere within the accumulation period, we begin to exit the bear market and as we transition into the next bull market. Now, that kind of lines up with exactly what you're showing me here. You know, if the top for Bitcoin was was it November the 10th, JJ? I think you've got the chart here. Was it the week of November? Okay, it was the week of November the 10th. So it was Monday the 6th of November that week where we signal the top for Bitcoin. Now, if we fast forward to today, December the 2nd, we are just over 1 year now of bear market. And I
Yep.
really believe that considering how boring cryptocurrency has become, I was going live every day. There was something to talk about every single day. There was TA to do every single day. I've had to slow down how much I'm coming live because of how boring crypto is becoming. It reminds me exactly of 2019. It reminds me exactly of 2019, where even my dad was talking to me the other day, and he goes, "Is Bitcoin finished now? Is crypto over? Should I get a job?" And I said, "No." I said, "It's going. This is exactly how the market is meant to make you feel. This is exactly where you're supposed to be in terms of mindset for the market." Now, I think
The thing that really is the most painful for me to watch this cycle compared to previous cycle is that in previous cycle there were a lot of ICOs, right? So People
Mm.
invested in stuff that they shouldn't have invested in, and they held on to it for way too long. Some people are even still holding the same stuff that they bought back then. Um, but even though they bought something that they shouldn't have bought, and they held on to it for too long, it was still worth something. So their portfolio wasn't zero, right? So they were still in the game, even though it was like minimal, with really a minimal amount. They were still in the game and were still able to change their game and do it different in the next cycle. But in this cycle, we literally have seen exchanges blow up. We've seen Celsius blow up, Luna blow up, and I think a lot of people were, unfortunately, all in on some of these projects, which, at the end of the day, it means that their entire portfolio is wiped out. So they're out of the game, completely out of the game, and that makes it very hard to, be ready for the next cycle. So and that's very painful for me to watch. How do you look at that? It looks like my sound is gone.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That was me. That was me. Now, I
Yeah, I'm
really
back.
like this chart. I apologize for everyone who caught that, but I really like this chart. This chart really lines up with mine, so I'm going to naturally have a bias towards this chart. All right. Now, let's say, for instance, we trickle down into that 9.9K zone. All over the news, we're seeing Bitcoin has broken below 10K. You come on In It for the Text NJ show, and in the thumbnail, it says Bitcoin breaks below 10K. What's next? Or something like that, right? Now, let's say, for instance, right, that 10K level, it holds, and we start finding a base in that area there. Nobody knows if we should go long yet. That's only someone like SC would be able to catch something like that. I have no idea how he does it. I don't think anybody does, but he somehow knows when the market's about to explode. Now, 10K hold, we are in mid 2023. Everybody in the chat has come on the NJ show and they say, NJ, please can you bring on JJ back on the show, because we think that the bottom might be in for Bitcoin and we need somebody to really help guide us as to what to do next. Now, if 10K holds and we start moving upwards, how would we expect to play the next cycle? So in your mind, maybe if you want to get your pen tool, just where the on trading view, if you draw a squiggle into 10K or 9K or whatever, and that
Mhm.
forms the bottom, what advice could we give these lovely people here in terms of how to start playing the next cycle? Because I know a lot of people here made mistakes in the previous cycle, the same mistakes that I made in 2017, where I pretty much gave all of my gains back. What advice could you give these guys from a normie perspective, not from a professional Twitter trading, perspective, but just more so,
Mhm. Mhm.
we're in the bull market now. You've got about a year before this thing pops. This is what you should be focusing on for that cycle. I'm sure everybody here would really love to listen to that.
What makes it really tricky is that in previous cycles, let me just hide these having dates and lows and stuff. Let's keep the lows for now. Well, we're freezed, it seems.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. You're looking good. You're looking good.
So what's really tricky is that previous cycles all ended with a blow off top. So what I mean with a blow off top is that some crazy prices that it just felt like it couldn't stop going up, right? That's what we saw right here, and that's what we saw right here as well, and that's what we saw right here as well. And then comparing that to the current cycle is we didn't really get such a blow off top. We saw more of a distribution kind of top. So that's already different from this cycle compared to the previous cycles. So because the top was different, I have the feeling that the bottom may also be different, will be shaped in a different way. So it's hard to look at previous bottoms and say like, okay, this is going to happen again now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I completely agree. Now, and I think I am going to ask you some questions about that in just a few moments. But keep going with this, and then
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that,
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna ask.
So for now, let's assume that we get a similar sort of bottoming pattern that we got in 2018. Um, you can see that there was a period of sideways price action, and that ended the bear market. So I think that's something we have to look for. So yeah, there's too many things here right now. So if we expect this range to give us a bottom, then I think we have to look for, let me see, yeah, some sort of sideways price action right here. And if we can like break out from this structure to the upside, similar like we saw it here, there's a sideways formation and then a break from that structure. I think that's something you have to look for. A sideways, more of an accumulation range within this range, and then a breakout from that range. I think that will be a confirmation that the bottom will be in.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, I like that because I know that Bitcoin will 100% give us opportunities to get on board. Now, let's say, for instance, we break market structure and we start climbing to the upsides. Where are the levels? I can see 30K already being a strong level there, but what are the levels that you'd want, your community or my community or anybody following us? What are the levels that we should be cautious of in order to continue a bull market, or to maybe pull back and exit for a second and get back on board after?
You mean if the bear market really ends, like what levels are important to look at on the
Yes,
way up?
exactly that, exactly that, on the way up, because I don't want people to get caught out. One thing I'm going to do personally in this next bull market is I'm going to create a separate wallet, right, or separate
Mhm.
wallets, and I'm going to call them the bear market wallets, right? And every time I get some profits, I'm going to shift some of that money into these bear market wallets, and I'm just going to completely forget about them. I'm going to look at them on a rainy day sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If that
yeah,
ever
yeah.
comes. So, what are the levels
That's the
that
best, the best thing, honestly.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And if you've got any more tips and tricks like that, please feel free to share it with these lovely people here. Um, but what levels would we be looking at now? If we got to 10K or 9.9K, at 30K, Bitcoin is already 3x from there. What
Hmm.
would we? I mean, if we were in 2023 and we saw Bitcoin go to 30K, I would kind of suspect that would be more of a bear market rally than a sort of bull market. Um, what macro fundamentals would you be looking at in terms of how to play that? Now, you were one of the people that really stood out to me on Twitter, where it was only you and XO on my feed that were really talking about, the global liquidity crisis. You guys were talking about the credit collapse. You guys were talking about the debt market collapsing. What From a macro fundamental perspective, what are one or two things that you'd want to see changed in order for us to continue in our bull market presence? We know that inflation needs to come down, and it's so refreshing being able to bring you on the show and talk to you about this. We know that inflation needs to come down. We know that the Fed are looking to make that happen. We've seen the rate hikes every other month with FOMC. What would we need in order to start getting that macro bottom and maybe start pushing to the upside? One or two things.
Oh man, I hate to say it, but we need the pivot, man.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that you've said that. But could you give us, say, for instance, I was somebody who didn't understand what a Fed pivot was. Would you be able
Mhm.
to break that down for me in layman terms?
Yeah, for sure. I can try at least.
Yeah, go for it.
Um,
Go for it.
like I think we all know that the Fed has been raising rates. They've been trying to increase essentially the price of money. Um, so I actually have a tab open right here, and you can see that the interest rate set by the Federal Reserve has been close to zero up until January of 2022. At that point, they started increasing the interest rate, and they've done it at an incredibly fast pace. So you can see the history right here. You can see that there have been sort of lower lows in the interest rate hikes. So hikes are moments in time where the Federal Reserve starts to increase the rates. And you can see a pattern, right? Lower lows within these rate hikes. And we actually made a significant breakout right here in a very short period of time, and that's the reason, in my opinion, why markets have been beaten down so hard this year. So what we want to see is a stop. Well, some call it a pivot. Some want to see a really start cutting the rates again. So it's now at 4%. Say it goes up to 5%. I'm not sure how I can show it the best way, but let's say it goes up to 5%. So they do a couple more rate hikes, and we end up at 5%. I think from there on, we can start looking at pivots. And the main thing the main way people look at a pivot is they want to see a cut in the rate hikes, or in the rate. So if we are at 5% and they start lowering the rates again, that's what people call a pivot. If they really start doing stuff like that, I think that is a confirmation of the beginning of the new bull run. But I'm not sure if it will go like that. What I'm focusing on is a pause in rate hikes for now, because inflation has proven to be a little bit more stickier than in previous cycles. So it's not really coming down back into their target range of 2%. It's staying at relatively elevated levels of, like, what is it? What's it now? CPI right now?
I think it was something like 9% when I last checked. I'm not 100% sure. I need to check my previous stream. Giles, if you're in the chat, can you let us know what the previous CPI numbers were? And you know what, JJ, just while Giles is doing that, just coming back to this very, very quickly, there is a controversial question that I've got for you.
Yes.
There are some people who some respected people in the space, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but thank you, Hafu. So Hafu's coming back saying it's 7.7%. So 7.7% is the current CPI numbers. I think that was what gave us the previous spike. But just quickly going over to what I was saying a moment ago. Now, there are some people who are saying that, well, now that the Fed have started hiking rates, it's going to take us a bit more time than what's expected to get inflation down to the levels it needs to be in order to give the market the relief it's looking for. And that Bitcoin has never really faced a recession, and that Bitcoin could potentially be going into a multi-year bear market. Now, I disagree with this. I think that Bitcoin is doing everything that I would expect it to do in a bear market. I feel as though now that we've had over a year of bear market, I'm noticing the volatility is dying down in comparison to what we saw at the beginning of the bear market. I feel as
Lots
though,
of things,
yeah,
we've seen before,
I'm seeing a lot of things that we've seen before, and I know I shouldn't feel this confident. But I do. And I feel even
yeah.
more confident because I see so many people losing confidence, right?
Yep.
Now, it could be in my head. I could be going crazy, which is what everybody called me in 2018 when I believed in Bitcoin. Everybody thought I was going crazy. But what do you think? Do you think that Bitcoin could be going into a potential recession, which would be the first time Bitcoin's ever gone into a recession? Or do you think that, the Fed will potentially have to pivot at some stage. We saw CPI go to a high of 9.3%, I believe it was. I remember doing an
Hmm.
episode on this channel with a CPI watch along where we got stupidly high numbers for CPI. Now, a few months later, we're seeing 7.7%. Maybe in a couple of months' time, we could see potentially 6%, 5.5%. Do you think that they're going to be able to get inflation down within the next year to give us that repetitive pattern that we normally see, where we've got the year of bull, the year of bear, the year of accumulation, and on the fourth year where we get that halving, we start exiting that bear market and start seeing highs?
I struggle with this as well. I think there are two main options for me. One option is we'll see more of a quick reversal, so something completely different to the previous cycles that we've seen, and also a little bit of a less, a shorter duration bull market compared to previous cycles. Um, so let me just open up the chart again. I think that's easiest to explain it.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a new one. I haven't had this one yet. I'm very keen to see what you have to say here.
Let me just erase this stuff. This is noise. Um, I'm not a Elliott wave type of guy. I'm no expert in Elliott wave, but if we use it today, let me open the tool. Well, let's forget about it. I can show you right now. Elliott wave usually sees 5 waves in an uptrend, and we can see the bottom right here, and then this supposedly could be the first wave, and then this should have been the second wave, and then this was the third wave, and then the fourth wave, and then what's missing is the fifth wave. So this is one thing that I'm looking at. A fifth wave to really end this entire cycle. That's one option that I'm looking at. So it's a bull market different from previous bull markets, with less of an accumulation range, more of a steep rally. Also, the target will be not as high as we've seen before. Really a rally to end the secular bull run that we've seen up until now. Oh. So yeah, that's one option that I'm looking at. And then the other option is the typical cycle, right? And whether we will see one or the other, I'm afraid I cannot. Yeah, I don't know,
So,
frankly.
I mean, do you know what? Because I'm not really fond or familiar with Elliott waves myself. Obviously, I come from the school of Trader SC, and the only other person that I really learned from, other than Trader SC, is Trader XO. So for
Yep,
me, it's always been horizontal support and resistance with
yep.
a mixture of trend lines. I understand PA in that way. Now, I know Elliott Waves is a profitable trading strategy. I know people among the
I'm
likes of
personally not using it either. So let it be clear.
yeah, for sure. But at the same time, guys that I respect in the space, people like Alessio Rassatani, for example, these people they use Elliott waves as well for confluence as opposed to
Hmm.
their pure trading strategy. They've been pretty correct in the past on certain moves for Bitcoin in terms of how low and how high Bitcoin could go. So if we're looking at a wave 5 as an example, right now, I'm very
Yeah.
clueless when it comes to this too. So I'm hoping that maybe you could answer it. What does a wave 5 look like? Is it as big? I think if I remember correctly, a wave 5 isn't as big as a wave 3, but it does clear all the highs. So it would technically still make an all-time high, right?
Just like you, I'm no expert in Elliott wave, but if I've remembered this correctly, so don't shoot me if I'm wrong.
No, don't
Uh,
worry. Shoot me instead.
the
It's cool. I could take it.
the fifth wave, I think, if I've remembered correctly, is usually not as big as the third wave, and also not as long as the third wave. So that would
Mm.
make sense, right? If it's the final sort of steep rally into new highs or at least range high. Um, I think that's how it would play out if it were the fifth wave.
Hmm. Interesting. It's very, very interesting because it's so confusing at this stage, because I'm part of the group that says Bitcoin will probably go to crazy new highs. I think we're going to go past 100k. Now I don't know if that's going to happen in the next cycle, but if we was to go from, let's say, 10k to 70k, and we took out the range highs just as an example,
Yep.
right?
Like somewhere in this range, make a new high, or maybe not, I don't know, but let's say we make the fifth wave and we go up into this range.
Yeah,
So it
right.
could even go as high as 100k. I'm saying arbitrary levels right now.
I mean, on a chart like this, 100k does not look a lot. From 10k to, yeah, it's a 10x, but it will look very small on this chart. It will look very, very healthy, if you know what I mean, as part of the Elliott wave theory. Now, if we was to go from 10k to 100k, don't you think that even if it was a shorter bull market, let's say, for example, just throwing it out there, yeah, we've got
Hmm. Hmm.
2020, we've got the COVID event of 2020. If we didn't have the COVID spike of 2020, we would assume that price would range in that area just above that spike, and then it would
Yep.
it would follow into the distribution which we have at 69k, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, if we get something similar, but without the event-driven spike of COVID, as an example, and we was to go from, let's say, maybe 9, 10k up until 70, 80k, maybe even 100k, what would that mean for the alt market? Even if we had it for just a year, do you think that the new cryptocurrencies that are coming out, the new altcoins that are coming out, do you think that they would still give us a potential for 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x?
I think there's always narratives to play. Um, and it will be a lot harder, I think. Um, in 2017, mostly, yeah, almost all altcoins went up. In 2020, in the next cycle, we already saw that it was harder to pick a winner in the altcoin market. Um, but there were still enough options, enough narratives to play. Um, and I think in the next cycle, you really need to, yeah, pick the right narrative to make money with altcoins. Um, does that make sense?
It does. It does. It's very, very interesting because, in 2017, we had the Oracle cycle, we had the privacy cycle, we had the staking cycle. Anything that had staking associated with it would just shoot up off ICO and just go crazy. I wasn't involved in many ICOs in 2017. I was more of a price action trader back then. I lost all that money anyway from 2017. It was 2021 that I learned my
Steep
mistakes,
learning curve.
Yeah, it was a very steep learning curve, with some depression involved as well. If you know, I lost a
Oh,
lot of money coming
I can
from
imagine that.
coming from the hood. I come from Tottenham. You know what I mean? Coming from the hood.
Tottenham.
Yeah, bro. When I was asking mum for £2.50 a day, and then seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars in one go, losing it
Oh,
all, going back to £2.50 a day. If you know, I'm just kidding,
yeah.
um, but we had so many different sectors in 2017. Then 2021 came along, and we had a whole new wave of sectors because the altcoin market became very saturated. I think in 2017 we had 200 to 300 altcoins overall in the space, and then in 2021 I think we had 12,000 altcoins in the space. So I'm
Mm, mm.
imagining that if liquidity was to start pouring into the traditional markets, and we had a risk on environment, and Bitcoin started rallying alongside the S&P and other risk on
Yep,
pairs,
yep.
I imagine that the altcoin saturation will be upwards of 20,000, maybe 25,000 altcoins that we have in the space, making it very difficult to pick those massive winners. When you've got two, 300.
I think we can say that there will only be the group that wins in altcoins will be smaller each cycle. I think we can state that. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. And just I don't want to get off topic. But
no, no, no.
if going back to what you were just quickly saying in terms of this Elliott wave stuff,
About
let's
the
say
fifth
for instance,
wave, yeah, yeah.
yeah, let's say for instance,
Let me try and pull this idea to more of the macro related stuff.
go ahead. I'm loving it. I'm learning too, guys. Keep the comments coming in. Keep the comments coming in. Show JJ some love. I'm loving this episode personally. So let us know what you think in the chat as well. All right, go
So
ahead, JJ.
the main thing that we saw in 2021, 2022 was inflation that really took off. Like to insane levels. The target from the Fed is 2%, and it went up to 9.1, 9.3%, I think. So they really had to do something to stop that inflation increase to become really runaway inflation of double digits, high double digit inflation. That was the main goal. And I think that goal is slowly being achieved right now. So they're not back at the 2% range, but it stopped increasing. It's actually going down for now. And if we were to see a regular cycle like we've seen before, so a regular 4-year cycle coinciding with the halvings, I think we could see that play out if inflation somehow goes back to 2%, and they are able to continue increasing rates to make that happen. And then as a result, we see Bitcoin see another capitulation event into the zone that we spoke about. If the financial system, like the broader financial system, doesn't completely break down before they achieve that 2% range on inflation, if they are able to do that without breaking the entire financial system, I think that's when we can see more of a traditional 4-year cycle in Bitcoin, the halving cycles that we spoke about. But I think there's also let's stop right here for a second.
Wait, it's not that. It's just because you said something sort of really important there. So you said, look, as long as whatever it is that so the Fed are trying to bring inflation to 2%. All right, that's
right.
number one. If they do that without destroying the financial system, then we should, in theory, get our 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, where you've got 1, 1, 1, 1, bull, bear accumulation, bull, bear accumulation, bull, bear accumulation, and the 4-year halving period that is associated with that. Now,
yes, correct.
So what would it take for now? Like, what would it take for now? We're at 7.7% in terms of CPI right now. Getting it to 2% is the ideal number. Is it possible that they could get it to maybe 3% or something like that before the bull market could start? I know, by the way, chat, I know we're getting some NFP volatility right now. Giles is here with the NFP expected numbers. Oh, okay. So 263 versus 200k expected. Okay, so that's very bearish. It looks like a lot of people lost their jobs. That's not very good. That's not very good.
So you can already see the U.S. economy slowly being hit in the data.
Yeah, 100%. Now, if we're going to be talking about the Fed bringing inflation down to 2% and we're at 7.7% now, do you have any idea of what they do? Would they just need to keep rating hikes? Would they just need to keep affecting mortgages and people's daily living expenditures? Or is there anything else that they could do to potentially give us this pivot? Because we are over a year into the bear market now. We've been dumping for the better part of a year. We've retraced over 80% now. I think on Ethereum it's 85% or something like that. How much more would these guys need to do in order to give us our accumulation that we're looking for at potentially around 9 to 10k?
I think an important thing to realize is that when you raise rates, which is what the Fed has been doing, if you are looking to see the effects of a rate hike, a rate increase, a rate hike, I think it can take up to over a year, up to even 2 years before you see the full effect of that single rate hike. So it's really a lagging effect, right? So you take action today and you see the effect a year or even 2 years later. That's my point.
So, but that's interesting because they started doing this in November 2021. So,
so they're
2 years.
reacting on a situation that's that was there in early 2020, 2022, I should say. Sorry. They're reacting because inflation was too high, so they're increasing rates, which makes sense up to a certain extent because actually they should have reacted earlier, before inflation really took off. But they didn't. So inflation was already high, and then they started increasing rates, from which they know that, the effect will be, yeah, visible in the market of a long time ahead of them. So they're trying to steer a car, um, that will not react instantly, right?
Yeah, no, I completely understand, and it's one of those things where it's very difficult to sort of understand where this thing is going to bottom out, and all the confusion that we've got is probably going to leave us wondering where the low could potentially be. The only reason I say all of this is because if more bearish news is going to keep coming out, how soon could we get to 10k? I think accumulation is very, very close. I would argue there are cases that accumulation may have already started on Bitcoin, which could potentially mean the low is either nearly in or it's already in. Nobody's really going to know, but what is your favorite sort of price in terms of when you'd start looking to accumulate Bitcoin? If we got to 10k and you bought some Bitcoin, but then we started dipping into 8k, 7k, would you cut your position, or would you be dollar cost averaging with higher hopes?
um I think that, yeah, that's a very difficult question.
It is. It is. It is. Me personally, I'd be buying more. There are people making a case for the COVID lows, but because that's coming now, when we were at 70k, if senior analysts would have spoken about COVID lows back then, I would have given it more sort of respect. I would have given it more intricacy. But speaking about COVID lows after we dip 85, 90%, that's usually a contrarian view. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's difficult for me because I really don't think that the COVID lows are going to be taken out. I think that the market is following the cycles that it should be following. I think that we haven't had a bear market rally just yet. Whether we're going to get that now or whether we're going to get that in the new yearly candle, it's difficult to ascertain. So I do think that there is a proper bear market rally coming. I think the ones that we've had so far, they don't really class as bear market rallies to me. The one that we had in 2019, that to me is a proper bear market rally where
Yep.
we
Yep.
get,
Yep.
we get a good 3x, 4x in Bitcoin, we get a good 3 to 4x in altcoins, and that's enough liquidity for the market to go back lower in
Yeah.
terms of any sort of bullish retests or whatever. The COVID spike, in hindsight, does look like a bullish retest, doesn't it? In hindsight, when you look at it
From
years
this
later.
level.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a bullish retest. Nobody would have known that at the time, but in hindsight, it does look like that. So I don't think we're going to get something quite like that, but I do think that we are going to get a proper bear market rally where we get a 3 to
But
4x in
that would like more look like accumulation range somewhere here, right?
yeah,
Around
exactly.
that
That's
level,
that's exactly
and
what I'm
then
thinking.
yeah, yeah. If you, I can literally copy paste it to, where is the tool? Let me search for it.
It's no, I know what you're looking for. It's so it was just a bit
Oh,
lower.
I have
So
it here.
go,
I have it here.
yeah, bars pattern. That's the one that you're looking for. Yeah.
It's in my favorite, so you can actually favor. Doesn't matter. So
See,
yeah, something like this.
that to me looks way more possible in terms of, and it lines up perfectly with that 30k region as well, and that 30k region is that region where I would imagine we'd see crazy amounts of resistance along with 43k. Those two levels, 30k and 43k, are the levels that I think Bitcoin is going to face major resistance in the future, whether in a bull market or not. Those levels have pretty much established themselves now, but that would look very healthy to me. Um,
I'm
JJ,
I'm 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 just struggling to see how this fits in with inflation. Uh,
well, this is the
Honestly.
thing. What if the Fed pause rate hikes for a couple of
Hmm.
months? Because if you think about it now, let's take an example now. So if NFPs come out today and we're seeing that more people are losing their jobs,
Yep.
and which this is going to have a domino effect. Those people who lost their jobs, they're not going to have an income, and that income that they don't have means that they're not going to be able to pay for inflated prices, energy
Yeah, no,
bills.
no, definitely. We're slowly seeing the U.S. economy deteriorating. That's what you're hinting at.
Yes, exactly that. Now, if we're going to continue seeing that, then the only way that the Fed is going to be able to save these people from total capitulation would be pausing rate hikes, right? These people are going to have to get jobs that pay a lot less to thrive
Yep,
in a market that they can't afford, that they couldn't already afford to thrive in. So, the Fed won't be able to protect them because the Fed want to increase hikes, right?
yep.
So the Fed would need to pause it. And that's the big dilemma that the Fed are in right now. Are they going to be pausing for the winter, or are they going to continue pushing up? Now, we had news that we put out on this channel a couple of weeks ago where the UN, the UN warned the Fed. The
Yeah, yeah,
UN
yeah,
warned,
yeah.
yeah, they warned Jerome Powell, and they said, look, everything that you're doing,
Begging
Jerome.
them to stop raising.
Exactly. They said, look, Jerome, if you're going to continue doing this, then you have to remember that although you're in charge of the US economy, you're effectively changing the entire world by doing this. Because when the dollar moves, everything else seems to fall to its knees. You see what
Yep,
I mean?
yep.
The Fed responds, and they say, look, we don't care. We have to do what's right for the economy. Uh, Stay in your lane. We'll stay in ours. All right. Well, this is the thing. So the question comes in now: are they going to be pausing it? If they were to continue aggressively doing this, I think we could bring inflation down over the course of the next 6 to 9 months. If they pause it for say 3 months as we transition out of the winter, it could make sense. It could line up with a year of accumulation. I don't know what your thoughts are, but it could line up quite perfectly, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, from this point, it becomes extreme speculation. So I have a hard time saying
You're right.
anything really useful on this. You know.
You're right, and I did say it would be controversial when I kicked this conversation up. I did say it could be controversial because we're talking about the world effectively changing, whilst we speculate on the price of Bitcoin. So I do understand that it's very very take it with a pinch of salt type of conversation, but at the same time. Someone needs to have that conversation, and who else
Yeah,
better than me and you? We might as well
yeah,
have.
no,
If
no.
everybody's scared to have that conversation, well, you know what? Screw it. Me and JJ will have that conversation. Why not? Right. And I think that's what's missing at the moment in the community. I think that when I look at Twitter, when I look at YouTube, I see a lot of people focused on what are the next top 10 altcoins. Oh, the Fed continues to crash Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to zero? But nobody's talking about what it would, take for us to really transition back into a bull market. What would the Fed need to do? And is it
Let, let,
possible? And
let, can I interrupt?
yeah,
Like,
bro, go ahead. It's your show. Go for it.
let's say let's think again about the two scenarios that I try to explain. So there's one scenario where we see, yeah, similar to previous cycles, a halving cycle. I think that, as I mentioned, will only be possible if they can, yeah, bring inflation down to the target level without breaking the economy. But in the other scenario where I was talking about the fifth wave, yeah, bringing us back into this upper range right here, I think what let's, yeah, together think of what we need to see macro wise, um, in case of that scenario, right? So what does macro look like when we get a fifth wave? Um, Let me just phrase the question like that. What are your thoughts on that? Can you say anything useful? Could you think of anything useful?
Well, yeah,
Um,
yeah, I can off the top of my head. Now, this is a conversation I've had with EXO a couple of times. We've had this exact conversation on this show actually.
okay.
I've done a couple of episodes where I've had even both SC and EXO on at the same time, and we've discussed this as well. Now, a lot of people who are new to market cycles, they don't really know macro entails. They see Bitcoin. If Bitcoin was to dump to 10K now, everybody would think, oh, okay, we're going to go for a V reversal and Bitcoin's just going to shoot to 50K, 60K. When
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
reality, we need to understand the concept of a macro bottom and what a macro bottom looks like. Apologies if it's getting a bit dark for everybody in the chat. It has just mysteriously gotten super dark in this room here. I don't know what's happened. It's the sun's fault, not mine. But now, when it comes to a macro bottom, for me personally, we need to look back at 2018 and we need to look back at 2015, I believe it was, to try and get an idea of what the macro bottom looks like in terms of on the weekly time frame, on the monthly time frame. One thing I've learned about Bitcoin is Bitcoin gives you a chance to get on board. The reason that people feel so horrible and they feel so shit when Bitcoin is at 100K is because they had so many chances to buy it at 10K. And I tell you what, I'll tell you a story as well. Me and Denk in 2013, we were on the phone. I was at work. I was doing my IT job. I
Okay.
called Denk at lunch and I said, yo, bro, what you saying? How's it going? We were talking about COD, Call of Duty. We were talking about,
Of course you were.
FIFA. We were talking about all sorts of crap. All right. I was talking about girlfriends, etc., etc. He had just got married. And then the conversation came up about FX. And I said, you know what, Z? I've been looking at FX recently. We should check this out. I think we'd be good at this. And Z laughed and he said, maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. All right. Now, we were looking at FX, and you're not going to believe it when I tell you this, but Bitcoin was at £50. One
Okay.
Bitcoin was fluctuating between £45 and £50. Now, me and Denk started with £2,000, all right, each, as in
Nope.
we put in a pot £1,000 each, all right.
Okay.
And that was a lot for us, a crazy amount at the time. Like, we really betting on
You were
ourselves here.
trading with one account, both of you together.
Yeah, we were looking at it
Okay.
together. We were trading with one account, and we were watching seminars. I didn't even know who Jerome was at the time, etc., etc. I didn't know what the Fed was. I was still in my learning curve, my learning
No,
stages,
no.
and we saw Bitcoin at £50, and we thought to ourselves, "F that." I watched a video on Bitcoin, and somebody was talking about pizzas and how 10,000 Bitcoins was for pizzas. So I looked at £50, and I thought, "Dank, let's leave this alone, bro, because this is too high." And Dank agreed with me. He thought, "Yeah, screw this." All right,
Fuck
that
it.
was when
Yeah.
Bitcoin was at 50 quid. And looking back, being able to afford, a better part of 100 Bitcoin back then, it feels horrible. Now,
hmm Always does.
Bitcoin will always give you that opportunity to get on board, and that's what a lot of people lose sight of. So taking it back now, apologies for waffling, taking it back now to what a macro bottom should look like, we need to keep in mind that Bitcoin will give you the opportunity to give you a chance to get on board. So taking that
I
context, you
I
can show us
agree.
now.
I agree on your point. In case if we get a regular 4-year cycle, and I think we only get that 4-year cycle if the Fed is able to bring down inflation to the 2% range without breaking the economy. I think in that case, I agree with you.
100%, 100%. And I think that for me personally, I'm yet to see that 4-year cycle break apart. Yeah, I haven't seen any
Mm,
scenarios at
Yeah,
the moment
that makes
where
sense. Yeah.
where it's showing me that we're not following the plan. Uh, the more I see people panic as well, the more bullish I feel. I don't want to sound like a moon boy. I don't want to sound like somebody who is just calling for moon and up only. But I don't know about you, but that's the vibe that I'm getting, bro. I'm getting that vibe that we're starting to build a macro bottom now. I think that it's beginning. I think that the next leg down will be the last leg for Bitcoin, and that's going to be the beginning of a range that will be in effect for however long it takes for us to climb out of that range. I think the volatility will be low. I think that to get from a range low to a range high, it will take months to do it. And when we do finally break out of that range, I don't think there's going to be any market participants left other than myself, other than you, other than the people on the NJ show. I think that crypto will have really flatlined. And that's
And
when I think,
have you ever considered this scenario?
yes, exactly that. Exactly that. What if we range from here? What if we are at the range low now and we just bounce up and down for the next 6 to 9 months. And then in the 9th month, we start breaking out. Maybe people think we're going to deviate back in and dump lower, when in reality, we start shooting up from here. And that fifth wave from this area here, that fifth wave would be around 100K.
Yep.
If you're going to be
Yep.
here, if you are going to be here for that, let me know in the chat. I can see some comments coming in already from some of the diehard Trader NJ community fans and followers. If you're going to be here for that, alongside myself and JJ, let us know in the comments. Smash a like button. Make sure you're subscribing if you haven't already. Bottom right-hand corner, by the way. And JJ, are you going to be here? That's the question.
Is that really a question?
Is that really a question? Is that really a question? JJ, it's been a fantastic chat, bro. It's been a fantastic chat. Having you on the show has been a real pleasure. One of the questions that I ask everybody that comes on the show is for the people who are in the chat anyway, the most important question I'm going to ask you throughout the entire show. So get ready for this one. Will you be back on the NJ show?
Let's leave that as the cliffhanger.
Ooh. Well, do you know what? We'll see what we can do if we can get JJ back on the show to discuss more macro and more Bitcoin, more market cycles. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to JJ. You guys will know on the show that when we bring guests on the show, it's usually intricate price action. We talk about the 15-minute time frames, the hourly time frames. We've had Crypto Burb on the show giving us his idea of how Bitcoin operates in macro. But having JJ on today has been really, really efficient for us in terms of looking at macro from a different perspective other than my own. And we've built a couple of scenarios today which really have helped us to understand where Bitcoin could go, how to prepare for it, what to do to get on board, what levels that we're going to be looking at in the future. JJ, just before I let you go, bro,
Yep.
what are some of the mistakes that you made in the last cycle or the cycle before that you don't want to make in the next cycle, that you could advise? Even if you don't want to tell us your mistakes, what advice could we give to these lovely people here in terms of how we're going to dominate the next cycle, in terms of taking profit, in terms of not emotionally getting too attached? What are your thoughts? Maybe just one sort of a little paragraph that you could give us before we wrap the show up.
Don't ignore the macro.
Don't ignore. Yeah, that's a good one. Is
Simple
there
as
any
that.
way that these guys could get more involved into macro? Some of these guys, they're heavily focused on price action. They're heavily focused on the events that follow around macro in terms of CPI, NFP. A lot of these people, they trade those events just because it's a volatile moment rather than understanding what the event is itself. Is there any advice that you could give people here to start digging into macro if they're new to the macro scene?
I think it's important to really understand what drives bond yields, because that's the 10-year US bond yield is a proxy for, I think, every single market that we look at. So if you can sort of understand what drives that bond yield, you'll have a great start.
Fantastic. JJ, I want to say a massive shout out. Thank you very much for joining the show today.
Thanks, guys. Really loving it so far.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. Stick around, all right? Don't leave. I'm going to say goodbye to these lovely people and I'm going to chat to you in just a moment. Guys and girls in the chat, show some love to JJ. I want everybody needs to try and drop one comment. Take a second out of your moment, whether you're at work, whether you're in the bathroom, whether you're in the kitchen, whether in your bedroom. I don't care what you're doing. Somebody, one of you, get a comment into this chat right now to say big love and a big support, a big shout out to JJ for coming on the show. JJ, I want to say thank you again, bro. I'll speak to you in a couple of minutes, all right?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Well, everyone, there you go. That was your show with JJ. It was really, really good having him on. He is somebody that I've respected for a very long time in the space. I do like his ideas. I do like his opinions. He is someone that I'm going to definitely try and bring back on the show, especially when we get into that bull market, because when we get into that bull market, this guy, like myself, he tends to shine. Everybody has their versions of their market. You know, when it comes to bear markets, Trader XO is the king. All right. When it comes to bull markets, you have other kings. All right. And JJ falls into that category of bull market kings. All right. So I'm going to do my best to bring him on. Make sure you guys drop a comment. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you're subscribing to the content if you're new to the channel. Make sure you're checking out the links in the description. The Telegram link is in the link in the description. So make sure you're checking that out. It's free. Get involved in the movement. Prepare yourself for the next bull market that's coming. That's everything that this show is about. All right. So take care, everyone. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you guys next week for another episode of the NJ Show, where we'll have more news. We'll have more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more altcoins, and hopefully more guests too. All right. I'm working on it. Cheers, everyone. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. See